We were so concerned about what was happening in Maui.
You're so concerned about what's happening in Maui that you somehow managed to hire a private firefighting team to protect your land before the fires started.
All of the online, being
slander and
slammed, attacks, lies, conspiracy theories.
Oprah is not playing the victim game again. The talk show host finally addressed the criticism she received for her Maui wildfire response. And yes, she made it worse for herself. She dismissed legitimate Maui wildfire criticism as a conspiracy theory and accused people online of terrorizing her.
Opportunity to kind of give your thoughts on that.
Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized.
After being called out for purchasing Maui's native land and then revealed to have hired her own Maui Fire Department to guard her homes, Oprah also faced criticism for soliciting donations to Maui from her followers.
Donation, just click now.
Did I just witness what I think I witnessed? Please don't tell me I just saw a billionaire standing next to a multi-millionaire begging the average everyday citizen for donations that can barely get by.
While The Rock and Oprah said they would donate $10 million to Maui in their carefully worded video, critics pointed out that they had actually said they would donate. So, after weeks of being slammed on social media, the talk show host addressed the criticism during an appearance on her best friend, Gayle King's morning show. Based on her reaction, either she's so disconnected from reality that she's convinced she's doing something positive, or she knows people have figured out her scam but is so self-absorbed that she just doesn't care.
Didn't really know who I am. What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus?
Now, let's start with some context. Last month, a series of wildfires swept through Hawaii, with Maui's western coast taking the brunt of the destruction. As of this writing, 115 people are confirmed dead and another 66 are listed as missing. In addition, thousands of Hawaiians have lost everything, including their homes, pets, and everything in between. And the Maui fire now ranks among the top 10 deadliest US wildfires on record. And as if that wasn't bad enough, they're now receiving calls from investors who want to take advantage of the situation and buy island at rock-bottom prices.
Owners have been reached out by investors and realtors offering to buy their land. And this is disgusting, and we just want to make sure that people around the world understand our situation and know that Lahaina is not for sale.
So, in the middle of the devastation, an inspired decision was made to bring in her camera crew and film the survivors at one of the evacuation centers. However, according to the Daily Mail, on August 13th, Oprah was denied entry to an emergency shelter in Maui after she attempted to transport a CBS camera crew into the facility. But there's another reason locals are skeptical of Oprah's presence in Maui. As you may already know, Oprah lives part-time on Maui, and in March of this year, she purchased 870 acres on Maui for $6.6 million. According to the Architectural Digest, at the end of last year, she purchased 2 additional parcels on Maui, totaling 10 acres for a total of $100,000 each. So, in addition to the extensive land Oprah already possessed on the island, she has now accumulated hundreds more acres. And according to one report, her total land ownership in Maui is estimated to be around 2,000 acres. When the news first broke in March that Oprah had purchased the 870-acre parcel, locals were quick to criticize her for buying Maui land, claiming she was aiding in the evictions of native Hawaiians. Many fans also wondered why she needed such a large piece of land on Maui and speculated on the purpose of Oprah's property. According to Newsweek, Oprah's home on Maui is situated in the southwest corner of the island, about an hour outside of the area that was ravaged by the wildfires. However, all of Oprah's properties and land were untouched by the massive fire. Oprah hired private firefighters to protect her property from the flames, and what's even more bizarre is that she hired the firefighters before the fires began. Oprah and The Rock's People's Fund for Maui was just launched a few days ago with fans encouraged to donate. But this wasn't just a random act of kindness. Viral reports on social media say that Oprah hired the firefighters in advance of the fires. one TikTok user quickly went viral claiming that Oprah hired firefighters in advance. And she also hired extra security to keep the survivors away from her land.
Concerned about what's happening in Maui that you somehow managed to hire a private firefighting team to protect your land before the fires started. You're so concerned about what's happening in Maui that instead of taking some of that land and housing even a small portion of those displaced people, you've hired a private security team to keep them off your land.
But that's not all. It's also telling that Oprah didn't mention the investors who were calling Maui homeowners and trying to force them into selling their land. And no, this isn't a conspiracy theory, because many survivors have spoken out about the bad deals they've received from investors and property developers. As one TikTok user noted, the reason why Oprah won't talk about these bad investors is because they were the ones who helped her get her huge piece of Maui land for way less than it's worth.
So concerned about Maui that you simply haven't had time to denounce any of the shady real estate deals which are robbing people of everything they have. You know, like the ones you were involved in that helped you acquire that land for pennies on the dollar of what it was actually worth.
Another great comment made by this TikTok user is that if Oprah really wanted to help people in Maui, she could have put her own money where her mouth is and asked her billionaire cronies to do the same.
Learned about Maui that instead of taking what would amount to a year's salary for you and 4 or 5 of your billionaire friends, which could be used to rebuild the entire place in a matter of months, you're jumping on social media and asking the American public, most of whom can't afford to pay their rent right now, to do it for you.
I think it's safe to say this woman said what most of us were thinking when we first saw the video of Oprah begging for donations alongside The Rock. However, contrary to popular belief, Oprah isn't listening to people's concerns. Instead, she went on live television to play the victim, accusing her critics of being conspiracy theorists while promoting her new book, ironically titled, Build the Life You Want: The Art and Science of Getting Happier. Oprah was strategically asked to respond to the backlash over her Maui donor plan. When Oprah was asked to respond to the backlash to her plan to donate $1 million to a charity in Maui, she refused to answer the question. Instead, she said that the backlash made me think about how I can maintain my happiness while being harassed.
Fun of Maui was created by you and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in which you both poured time, effort, and millions to kick it off yourselves, yet and still it faced online criticism. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of give your thoughts on that.
Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online.
Oprah also went on to say that critics who criticize her are taking attention away from Maui.
The online, being
Slander and
attacks, lies, conspiracy theories, really took the focus off of what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui.
But isn't it ironic that Oprah didn't mention that the Maui people are the loudest critics of her? And that's because they know firsthand what she did to their island.
Come in. Who is she? Who is she? We couldn't even have our pastor come in and ask us if we need prayer in the very beginning, but Oprah could come in.